So, hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today webinar. We are excited to have you with us uh, and look forwarding to an engaging and insightful session. We are delighted to have our speaker with us today, Ms. Vidushi Man, who will be sharing invaluable insights and practical perspective on this topic. So, I would like to, please allow me to give an overview about Vidushi ma'am. She is an passionate science trainer who works with the school to strengthen science teaching and learning. She designs and conducts professional development program for teachers, develops STEM-based activities, supports lesson planning, and introduces classroom methodologies that make science enjoyable, meaningful, and student-friendly. Her work focuses on shifting science learning from memorization to observation, questioning, reasoning, and application. Her expertise includes primary and middle school science curriculum training, experiment based pedagogy, STEM integration, phonics support in early science vocabulary, assessment planning, and activity based teaching. She works closely with the schools to enhance teacher capacity and create joyful learning experience for learners. Now, I would like uh, to please Vidush.
Thank you, Sumit. Thank you so much for your warm introduction. Good morning, good evening, children, parents, grandparents, teachers. We really hope, our sincere hope for this webinar is to be able to alleviate the fear of examinations, share some tips with you to remove test anxiety, even normalizing text and test anxiety. We want to take examinations in the spirit of, like our title also says, milestones, not finale. And we would share tips again to how to help ourselves, our friends, our family, and we will also talk about what are some key points that we can keep in mind when we are solving a science exam. I'm going to shift between my screens now. So allow me 1 minute. In fact, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let us talk a little bit about what test anxiety is. What could that look like? What could that manifest as? Sumit, you will be keeping an eye on the chat box, correct?
Sure, ma'am. Sure, I will.
And if anything that comes, you please let me know.
Sure.
So children, we and parents, we are going to be talking. First, our agenda is to talk about what performance anxiety could be. I'll start by an example which you probably are already familiar with. So, for example, if you were an entertainer, if you were an actor, if you were a performer, waiting to go on stage is a part of the thrill of performing. We feel excited, even a little bit nervous. Then our jitters and subside as soon as we step into the spotlight. Some performers, however, some dancers, some actors, some orators feel much more than just jitters. They start to sweat, they start to grow short of breath, their hearts start racing, they become frozen with fear, unable to go on stage, and this terrible anxiety is called stage fright. Students also experience or may experience something similar to stage fright when faced with an exam. They may become so fearful that they can't focus or think. They may even feel sick. This is known as test anxiety. And like stage fright, it can stop anyone in their tracks. Fortunately, there are a number of things that students and parents can do to overcome these fears and do well on tests. We are going to be talking about these tips and tricks in due course. But first, let's discuss what is anxiety, what does it look like, what does it feel like. So, what is anxiety? Everyone feels anxious at one time or another. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Anxiety is uncomfortable, but it has a purpose. This natural reaction is designed to help us survive. You can think of it from an evolutionary perspective. So right before we had all these machines and all these inventions and discoveries, we were hunter gatherers, foragers, and we would be hunted by other animals. So you can think of it as stress response. Anxiety comes about when we are threatened or are under stress. There are two types of stress: good stress, which is also called stress. Stress. EU comes from the Greek word good, and bad stress. Good stress occurs when a person faces a challenge and has the ability to deal with the challenge. So, for instance, if a student is given homework and has enough time and resources to complete it, that is good stress. Good stress can be a motivator to get things done. On the other hand, it's not so good cousin is bad stress. Bad stress happens when a person faces a challenge that seems impossible or overwhelming. It may not be impossible, it may not be overwhelming, but it seems like it. Even if a challenge isn't truly impossible, it can cause bad stress in a person who lacks confidence. Good stress and bad stress both cause different levels of anxiety. Good stress causes just enough worry for somebody to become focused on a task. So, for example, right before this meeting, I had a bit of good stress. I had some worry that I want to prepare well for this webinar. I do not want to speak just without thinking, and just, words should not just flow out of my mouth without thought. I want to be able to give you respect that you deserve by thinking my things through. That means I need to focus on my task. I need to prepare it well. Bad stress, however, does just the opposite. Instead of helping somebody to focus, bad stress makes a person panic. A panicky person is overwhelmed, nervous, confused. They can't think or focus clearly. This kind of anxiety may show up as test anxiety in a student, stage fright in a performer. Yes, and yes, students and parents, it's all in our head. Stress, both good and bad, although that's coming from outside the body. Anxiety, it's in all in our head. It begins in a part of our brain called the amygdala. I'll be showing you a picture of the amygdala as well. So when you are stressed, it releases, you know, our amygdala goes into action because our brain suggests that I have information that you are under threat. You are under some kind of threat, emotional threat, physical threat, and it releases stress hormones. As soon as we start to have stress hormones, our breathing and heart rate increases. Blood flows to muscles away from problem solving areas of the brain. Why, you might want to say, Vidushi, why are you sharing this? I'm sharing this because there are a lot of parents in this workshop, and this is so important for you to know that your child is not overacting, or your child is not uh, trying to be nervous, or they when they are feeling nervous, they have this anxiety from inside. So it is actually that the brain is at work here, and through great counseling and response only can we help our children overcome test anxiety. I'm now going to go back to my screen share, and allow me one more minute. So, we talked about parents, we talked about good stress and bad stress. So good stress, whenever we have good stress, our performance increases. Whenever our stress level increases too much, That means our bed stress increases and a bad stress increases and our performance decreases. Examples of good stress are fun challenges, healthy tension, positive anticipation. Bad stress examples are fear, panic, exhaustion, depression. Now that we know about what good stress and bad stress is, what can it manifest like, we it will be great if we are also familiar with something called the stress curve. Now, what is a stress curve? Stress curve is for optimal performance. We want our stress. I'll also try to highlight. Mm, That is where we want to be. We want to, if you have low stress or no stress at all, then boredom sets in, comfort. If you have very high stress, then you have burnout, you have strain. But where do we want to be? We want to be in this zone, the Goldilocks zone of optimal performance, wherein we have moderate stress. So, not all stress is bad. And we spoke about amygdala also, correct? So amygdala is this portion. It is labeled as well. This part of our brain, just over the above the earlobe inside, which processes information. So our amygdala gives this information to our, this processes the information in our brain that I'm under stress, I'm under duress. And then our hormones release all these stress hormones. Okay. So, enough about stress, positive and negative. I also want to take some time to talk about the kind of decisions. We all make decisions all day long. What food to eat, whether to exercise, not exercise, whether to revise now, revise later, study now, study later, sleep now, sleep later, go to work now, how much to finish now, how much to finish later, wear this, wear that, use a bread pen, read this book, read that book. Now, these are decisions that we take all the time. Some decisions have short term impact, and some decisions have long term impact. We call them three kinds of decisions. So, first kind of decision is, wearing a hat decision, the hat decision. You wear a hat, you don't like it, you can change it immediately. It does not take long to recoup that decision. You can change that immediately. The second kind of decision is getting a haircut. So imagine if you got a haircut, chances are, if you don't like it, chances are you need at least 1 to 2 months to reverse that haircut, if not longer. So these are called haircut decisions. These are short term, not momentary, but short term decisions. And then there are some decisions like making a tattoo. So you may make a tattoo and then it stays on you for life. And if you were to reverse it, now we have the tech to reverse it, we have the resources to reverse it, but still it's a very long and painful process to reverse a tattoo or to remove a tattoo. So what I want to say is that as parents, as children, as individuals, we make decisions all the time. And students, I speak directly to you now, children, that when you make a decision regarding your study plan, when you're making a decision to work hard, when you're making a decision to put everything in, you have to decide, you have to know that this is a decision that is going to be impacting my life. So when you decide not to revise now, you should also be aware that whether this is a hat decision, whether this is a haircut decision, or whether this is a tattoo decision. So you want to weigh your responses in life towards different decisions in such manner. Uh, Allow me one more minute. I will come to talk about talent and grit a little bit later, but first let's talk about you are going to give a science exam soon. Most of you in this workshop are using KIPS resources to study. So let us talk, and as KIPS is a leader in science textbooks, let's talk about what are teachers looking for in a science examination, in a science answer sheet. First thing we want to, Sumit, I'll just pause here for 1 minute and ask you if there are any responses, any thoughts, any questions, any feedback.
No, ma'am, as of now, there is no response.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Sumit. Conceptual understanding and application. What are we looking for? So, teachers are looking for the ability. Teachers are looking for this. Teachers are looking for children who are able to apply concepts to real world scenarios rather than just recalling definitions. Allow me 1 second. My slide just went off. Give me 1 second, parents. Teachers prioritize ability to apply concepts to a new real world scenarios rather than recalling definitions. Recalling definitions is important because it allows and gives an opportunity to the student to use keywords. These keywords represent technical vocabulary related to the topic, and marking schemes heavily rely on those, but putting in the definition only is halfway done. So what are we looking for? So for example, if you have a concept of let's say genetics, then you might want to also give examples of how it applies in real life. What is the latest research in genome therapy? You might want to support that via how, what application do you see of this in India and in the world? We've talked about keyword usage. Try to use as scientific vocabulary in your science exam as much as possible. I know me saying this is just, you would be thinking, oh, that's common sense. But I want to, as a teacher, I want to put that again in your heads that using scientific vocab, using technical vocabulary related to the topic is extremely important. Talking about cause and effect. Science is all about cause and effect, right? So why something happens and what does it lead to. So understanding of why a phenomena happens and not just what is in a phenomena. So for example, right now we have snowstorms all over Europe, parts of Asia, the Americas, and that is the shifting of the polar vortex, right? The polar vortex. Now, knowing what a polar vortex is, knowing what a shifting of polar vortex is, but then also talking about the effect of it, short term, long term effect. So, here is what we are talking about: what caused a polar vortex, what is the effect of a polar vortex. And by doing this, you will be displaying to the teacher that you understand the concept. Remember, the science examiner is not looking for long stories. They are looking for conceptual clarity, understanding. So ensure you do that. Ensure high scorers always demonstrate a deep understanding. So higher order thinking skills like application, creating, analyzing. So these are all higher order. thinking skills that we want our children to display. Then we want to talk about presentation and structure. So, answering in points, breaking breaking answers into bullet points or distinct steps rather than long paragraphs makes it easier for teachers to award marks. Whenever you talk into in bullet points, excuse me, it's my slide again. Answering in points. So, another critical thing, some children they get into a habit of answering in bullets or they make stars. I would suggest you write 1, 2, 3, you number it, or ABC, but numbering is best because it gives a very quick visual reference to the teacher that that this person has knows 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, 7 points. So, breaking your answers into bullet points or distinct steps rather than long paragraphs makes it easy for the teacher to award students marks. Neatness and organization. A clear handwriting, neat, legible work is always a treat to the eye. Imagine if you were the examiner yourself. You would yourself want to look at uh, an answer sheet which is neat and clean. A neat answer sheet always creates a positive impression. Conciseness, sticking to the point, and staying within the word limit. If it's a 2 hour, if it's a 2 mark question, you don't want to write a paragraph of 8 to 10 lines. You want to write it point by point and you want to ensure that you're staying in the word limit. Subject specific requirements, diagrams, and labeling. Clean, as a science student, you have to present so many different kinds of diagrams because diagrams help the examiner help you know that you know what the system looks like in a graphical representation. So clean, labeled, accurate diagrams are essential and they can fetch extra marks. So make sure when you're labeling, you take your arrow straight, if possible, with a scale. If you're hard pressed for time, ensure you're making it as straight as possible. Your line should be very neat and clean. Some children also use underlining if they want to specify a certain point. That is always a great idea, but don't go overboard with it. Chemical equations and reactions. In chemistry, providing balanced equations is crucial, along with mentioning states of matter. Units in numericals. In physics, ensuring correct units for final answers and showing all steps for calculations is vital. Make sure you plot on graphs with labeled axes and appropriate scales and data points. Do not forget to put data points. Make sure you're putting in the legend. Make sure you're putting in all the notes that you want to display in your infographical representation. You must address all parts, directly answer all subparts of a question. If the question is in subparts and you make the parts and you answer part 2.b, part to point C, depending upon what the question paper looks like. Time management. Make sure you are distributing your time to finish all the questions. Just 1 second, parents. So make sure you are answering all the questions within the marking frame. You answer it as per the time limit, divide your time accordingly. So to reiterate, what are some key areas that you want to look at when you are, so if you want, you can also read the screen. Just allow me 1 minute.
So meanwhile, participants, if you have any queries, you can put it in the chat box. We will be taking those questions.
If you have any queries, I'm happy to answer till now. Preeti, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible. We are just waiting. So meanwhile, you take your time. Meanwhile, we will see if we have any queries. Okay.
I also want to talk to you, parents, about making a timetable. There are great formats available all over the internet. They are part of your books also. You may want to prepare your own timetable accordingly. Do we have any questions till now?
No, Avidushi, we do not have any question as of now.
Okay. Now, Preeti, what I'll do is I will play a video. It is about stress, a study on teens, and then we are going to discuss that as well. I'm going to share my screen for this, and I'm also going to. Can you hear it? Can you confirm, please?
Parents, teachers, and medical
Yeah, but
professionals
not
are all
visible. We can
concerned
hear.
about the alarming,
We can't.
decades-long rise in teenage mental health issues,
You have to switch
including
screen.
depression, persistent feelings of loneliness, and drug addiction. The root causes are elusive. Cell phones and social media are prime suspects. No surprise there, but a 2023
See, we can
study
hear the
offers
audio.
another
The video is
explanation
not
that's
clear.
gaining traction. After sifting through surveys,
Can you not hear the audio?
We can hear the audio. We can hear the audio.
that a primary cause is, quote, a decline over decades in opportunities for children and teens to play and engage in other activities independent.
So we'll watch this video and then we are going to discuss it a little bit as well.
Parents, teachers, and medical professionals are all concerned about the alarming teachers and decades-long rise in teenage mental health issues, including depression, persistent feelings of loneliness.
Preeti, I'm just a little bit bothered about. Are you able to see my screen as well?
No, so we can see the PPT. We can't see. I was about to say the video.
Okay, give me 1 second.
There's another explanation that's gaining traction. After sifting through surveys, historical data sets, and other cultural artifacts, researchers theorize.
This is a very important video that I want to share. So there we go. Should be able to.
You can try sharing the entire screen. Now we can see the screen. Yes.
Yeah.
Parents, teachers, and medical professionals are all concerned about the alarming, decades-long rise in teenage mental health issues, including depression. loneliness, and drug addiction. The root causes are elusive. Cell phones and social media are prime suspects. No surprise there, but a 2023 study offers another explanation that's gaining traction. After sifting through surveys, historical data sets, and other cultural artifacts, researchers theorized that a primary cause is, quote, a decline over decades in opportunities for children and teens to play, roam, and engage in other activities independent of direct oversight and control by adults. Historical articles, books, and advice columns on child rearing depict a bygone era when young children walked or cycled to school alone and contributed to family and community life through meaningful chores and jobs. If that all feels vaguely mythical, data collected over the last 50 years reveals a correlation. Parents admit that their children play outdoors independently much less than they did at the same age, and data confirms a big drop in the number of kids who travel to school alone or are allowed to cross busy roads by themselves. Risky and unsupervised outdoor play, meanwhile, which might protect against the development of phobias and reduce future anxiety by increasing the person's confidence that they can deal effectively with emergencies, according to the researchers, is often frowned upon. That last point is crucial because dozens of studies suggest that happiness in childhood, and then later in adolescence, is driven by internal feelings of autonomy, competence, and relatedness. In independent play, purposeful work, and important roles in classrooms and families are vital early forms of practice. Whatever the cause is, young children seem to sense that something is off. In one 2017 study, kindergartners who viewed images of fun activities routinely struck pictures that included adults from the category of play, rejecting the role of grown-ups in a domain that they clearly saw as their own.
Now is when we start to talk about developing confidence and w- why mental health, why drop or increase in confidence, overconfidence, underconfidence, stress, sleeplessness, lack of play, lack of outside play is impacting all of us, all of our families. As a parent, it's extremely important for you to ensure that you give outdoor play time to your children. It is probably the most important thing we can talk about today. Some children, they get up at whatever time, X time, and then they are holed up in their room throughout, thinking that if I'm holed up, I will perform better. The idea is that we don't want our children to feel that anytime you want to achieve something really important in life, you just go and get in a room and you forget all other aspects of your life. Our title today is evident, that has is evident that we want to ensure that these are milestones in life. They are not the end all and be all of life. So, as a parent, what is the number one thing that you need to ensure, uh, for great physical health, as well as this ability for children to socialize or speak about their feelings, is an ability to go out. So allow your children to go out, please, of the room. If Sumit, if we have any questions or thoughts, you please keep letting me know. Now, parents, I want to come to this important word called talent. Children all over the world, parents all over the world, humans all over the world love to to push the word talent to success. If anybody is successful, we call them hardworking later, talented first. Talent just seems to be a great accompaniment of success. But we also want to talk about, or you also want to think about, is what is talent? What constitutes talent? What does talent look like? What do talented people look like? What are their daily habits? And does talent have a lot of other ingredients, or is it a one off entity? When you look at a child who has constantly underperformed, we say this child has no talent. When we see a child who's overperformed, we say must be talented. But what takes for a child to be talented, what takes a person for a person to be talented are these. So, more than talent, the word we want to allude to, the word we want to respect more is called grit. We want to ensure that our children grow up and are nurtured as gritty individuals. They have a growth mindset. They have a vision. What do I want to do? What do I look like 10 minutes from now, 10 hours from now, 10 days from now, 10 months from now, 10 years from now, and so on. Passion. What is my child passionate about? I have seen way too many parents pushing their dreams onto their children. मैं तो नहीं बन पाई, तुम बनो. I was not able to do it. You do it. If I'm giving you everything, why can't you do this? Let your child find their passion. And passion is not just all fun and frolic. Passion comes also from what we are successful at. So it is a result of liking something, practicing it enough, enjoying it. Commitment. Talent does not last. Talent is not good for marathon. Talent is not good for the long haul. For the long haul, it is commitment because there is literally nobody on earth who has never encountered failure. Everybody is going to fail sometime or the other. And what do I need to have to overcome failure is commitment that I keep on doing and perseverance. I keep on going no matter what. Discipline. Am I disciplined enough to know that I'm going to fall, but I'm also going to grow? I'm also going to learn from my mistakes. So more than talent, more than he's a talented person, what we should ideally be respecting is grit. We should be respecting grit. We should be trying to nurture grit in our families, in ourselves. I'm going to now talk about things that children can do to do better in life. They can be on time. If they have made a timetable, then sticking to that timetable. Being on time does not just mean going to a place physically, it also means sticking to what you have decided. Work ethic. If I've decided to work for 1 hour and then take a break, then I work constantly for that 1 hour. I put in my best effort. Body language. I display an open body language. I am a confident person. I have energy. I eat right. I play right. And I have energy. I display positive energy. I display an attitude to learn. So when for I mean the student. When the student, when the even the parents, individuals, grown up individuals, when we display passion, attitude, energy, these things require no talent at all. These require skills that we develop along the way as we grow. There are some people who are never on time. There are some people who display a negative energy. There are some people who have no passion towards anything. So people can go through their entire life but not have these. Being prepared. Am I prepared for my task, or am I speaking as the task goes? If you may be talented, but if you're not prepared, then there are bound to be errors, bound to be mistakes. So doing extra, being passionate about things, being coachable. Do I have the ability to learn? These things require zero talent. And this illusion, not illusion, but this for adults to allude all success to talent is a big mistake. What we want to nurture is growth mindset. We want to tell our children that the brain is plastic, it's malleable. You can you can learn and your brain grows, your neurons fire up. So the more you learn, the more fired up your brain is, the better you are at learning and keeping that skill inside you. I want to talk about some kinds of parenting. A lot of you are parents. Sumit, do we have any thoughts or responses?
No, ma'am, there's no query as such.
Okay, great. So what we have is we want to talk about different kinds of parenting. First, we have authoritative parenting. We, authoritative is I say and you say with me. Whatever the parent says, the child also says. Parent decides, child follows. Authoritarian. Parent decides, child wants to follow, does not want to follow, we don't care because mama and papa are always right. So authoritarian. Then there is something called neglectful parenting. Let them do whatever they want to do. They will understand on their own. Let them make their own mistakes. They will understand on their own. Neglectful. I'm very busy. I have so much to do. I have my own office. I have my own home to take care of. I have my own health to take care of. I can't do this. Neglectful. Permissive. Can I do this? Yes. Can I do that? Yes. Can I go here? Yes. Can I stay here longer? Yes. A yes for everything. That is permissive parenting. Overprotective. When parents decide that harm is going to come to my child and I must do everything to preempt that harm and I must take all the steps necessary to make my child safe. So in by doing that, while parents feel they're doing the best, but actually they're making a big mistake. What they are doing is they're not letting their child learn at all. If a child doesn't fall, the child doesn't know then how to get up. So getting up is extremely important. Let your children fall, let your children learn from their own mistakes. Be watchful, be cautious, but do not be overprotective. In colloquial terms, it's also called helicopter parenting. Then there is something called power struggle. Such parenting looks like somebody's emotionally blackmailing the other party. Sometimes children are emotionally black. I will not eat. I will throw a big fit. I will lie on the floor. I will not follow you. I have stomach ache. I have stomach ache. I have stomach ache. I don't want to do anything. And then parents cave in, or parents throw a fit and the child caves in. And then there is a constant power struggle. In a power struggle sort of a pair, and we see this a lot. I mean, you only have to go to a public place to see power struggle happening. Children throw fits, they lie down on the floor, I want this. And once you cave in, these children, they become older and then they know how to manipulate you or your actions very, very quickly. So you give in once, you give in twice, and then it becomes a way of life. So you may want to now think about, as a parent, what kind of parent are you? Where do you lie? And what are some good bits that you want to take from each of these parentings? And what are some bad bits of such parenting that you would like to ignore? Where do you fall in the continuum? If you want, you can also respond to us in the chat box saying, I know such parents. I know a neglectful parent. I know a permissive parent. I know an authoritarian parent, and so on. If you want, you could do that. You can be anonymous throughout. It's totally up to you. But we would love to hear your response.
Let me check.
Yeah, yeah. How many participants? Okay, this is a live stream. We would not know the data right now.
Authoritative.
Okay, okay. Thank you for responding. So you do know, and I know I know a ton of parents who would, I know so many parents who would fall in so many of these categories. And sometimes even I fall into one of these categories. But a mindful person always makes sure that they are not repeating their errors, and they are also open to talk to when it comes to parenting. I would now like to go to signs and symptoms of test anxiety. How can you recognize this in yourself or in your children? Children are displaying shortness of breath. They are complaining of headaches, stomach aches. Very visual indicator is my child is sweating. There's uncontrollable sweat, even when it's cold. My heartbeat is racing. There's this sweat between my palms, armpits, um, racing. My forehead is sweaty. So these are some things that you might want to look at. I have a flushed face. I feel too ill to attend school. I want to avoid school. I have low test performance. I have no motivation. And I keep on doing negative self talk. What will happen if this will happen? Nothing will happen. Nothing good will come of it. So these are signs and symptoms of test anxiety. And you, as a parent, you, as a child, might want to keep an eye on these and know what can you do to reduce exam stress. You may want to manage your time. You may want to seek support. You can seek support. And we will talk about, after this, we'll talk about ways to seek support. We will talk about how to how to seek support through friends, through parents, through teachers, breaking tasks down, balanced lifestyle, studying techniques, and positive mindset. Uh, we are so fortunate that we live in an era wherein no information is far away from us. While that can be a double-edged sword, but for somebody who is looking to do good in their life, there is literally everything. You can learn anything and everything there is to learn. There is so much information. And that is such great news. So, if, for example, a particular topic is not clear to me while I was studying in my class, I can always go and view a video. I can break down my video also in some parts. YouTube has big videos, short videos, very long videos. You can choose the detail that suits you the most. And you can identify different study techniques. You can make different note making mechanisms also. You don't have to underline the whole book. You can put a question mark on words which are unfamiliar to you. You can put a star on something that that as an example I would love to use this. You can put main idea, the word main idea, on what the topic is mostly about. You can identify key details when you are, if something is the cause, something in the effect, you want to write that, not just underline. I have seen children whose books are totally underlined and completely underlined because they're not able to identify what are the most important bits for me. If you have an unfamiliar word, if you find an unfamiliar word, put a question mark there and go find it. Put a smiley on words that you feel, oh, that's great information for me to have. That's, I can make this connection. I know this from earlier and now I'm able to make this connection. I'm able to make this inference. This information implies this. So you may want to look at those as well. So studying techniques is not just the medium of study, but also the different organizers, mind maps. Your kids books are full of such organizers also. You may want to keep that in mind as well. Positive talk is so very important. What does positive and negative talk look like? Negative talk looks like, I know I'm going to fail. And positive talk looks like, I don't know what will happen, but I am going to try my best. I don't understand this, so I'm giving up. But positive self talk looks like, I can do hard things. I will keep trying. Negative self talk says, I'm not as smart as other people, versus positive talk says, everybody has different strengths, but with practice, I can get better. When we move our self talk from negative to positive, we are developing a growth mindset. Remember, a growth mindset is not about the final performance. A growth mindset is about the process of learning. If somebody starts to enjoy the process of learning, and as parents, as children, as teachers, you would agree with me that if somebody starts to enjoy the process of learning, they are bound to be successful. Success is not a return favor of a growth mindset, it's a direct result of growth mindset. So once you have growth mindset, you are definitely going to be successful because you keep trying, you keep making the effort. You don't give up after a few tries. You keep on going till you get there. I want to talk about one more. Let me take you there. Just 1 second, please. In the meantime, if there are any responses, kindly let me know.
So, Vidushi, if one parent has messaged, they're asking if you can recommend something which, while studying student can, release their stress or maybe anxiety. So they want to take a small break, but don't want to go to any other activity. But while sitting or while taking a break from study, they can work on something.
Just a little bit of stretching, breathing, having water, not too heavy food, but some light snack, as much as possible fruits and vegetables. These are listening to music and any kind of music, because as a parent, I may like a certain kind of music, but my son or my daughter would not enjoy that music at all. Music can be incredibly calming. People like me can feel, oh, classical music is great for calming down. But my son or my daughter, they'll feel classical is bad. I don't want to hear it. It doesn't relax me. For them, a relaxation inducing music would be a pop music, something which is popular music. So let your children decide what that music looks like for them. uh so if you're playing some music, it does not take your child to another place at all. If you're doing some stretching, it does not take your child any place else. If your child is breathing, deep breathing, your child doesn't have to go anywhere. uh Having a snack, child doesn't have to go any other place. But yeah, that these are small strategies of breaks. Moving your body, stretching it. Sometimes you tell your children go do some stretches, but they don't know what stretches look like. So you may want to tell them to ensure that they're looking at something green. Their eyes, the focal point also stretches. So put a plant somewhere. uh, you know Ask your child to look at that plant every 5 to 10 minutes. Just looking at a live green thing, it has been scientifically proven to reduce stress. You can also uh, make a quick joke with your child. I don't know how easy it is to make a joke with a child, but we can always try. um, so these are some strategies that can be helpful for children, and parents can support this. So maybe you want to think about it. I hope I was able to answer your question. I really tried.
Yeah, thank you. That's
Let me
fine.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. Another important thing that I want to cover very quickly is how others can support me, how I can support others. And by others, it is not just Somebody in my neighborhood is having a hard time. Mental health is such a crisis that we always feel it is going to happen to somebody else. It's never going to happen to my family, my child, but definitely it is happening to somebody's child, and that child lives in some house. So you want to keep an eye on that. How does that happen? What does that look like? Everybody goes through a hard time, right? And these are teenagers. Teenagers have other hormones which are different from the hormones in an adult's body. So they are feeling feelings at a much accelerated pace than as a parent, what you are. As a parent, also, we go through so many hard things so frequently. So knowing that I'm going through a hard time, first of all, recognizing it. Second, ability to say, I'm having a hard time. Please, I need help. For instance, I want to, what would that look like in a dialogue? That would look like, I'm having a hard time with this. I'm struggling with this. Can you help me? It's easier said than done. Nobody likes to admit that I'm failing. Nobody likes to admit that I am struggling. And especially we have such stereotypical ideas and thoughts about struggling. Don't cry like a girl. Boys don't cry. Uh, why you behaving like a girl? So these gender specific stereotypes also. Children, when and often during exams, I see this that they are isolated in their houses. They hardly have opportunity to talk to people their age. Imagine as an adult if you have to talk to somebody who's not in your age group at all, who's at least 20 years older or 20 years younger all the time. I bet it will give you anxiety. Same for children. If they do not get this opportunity to talk to others who are in their age group, it is bound to make them anxious. We all find it easier to ask for support when it is people in our age group. That by no means am I saying it's not easy to share with a parent. There are some parents I know who have cultivated, who have nurtured, who have slowly and steadily ensured that they experience an open relationship in their family. They are able to talk about failures much more easily. We find, and research also indicates that such families and such children are more resilient. They are able to accept fallacies in themselves, faults in others, and have better interpersonal relationships in future. After all, it's not just an exam, right? We are all giving the exam of life and we want to come out with flying colors. We want to be great people to begin with. We want to be people that people like to talk to. We want to be social. We want to be successful and we want to create a peaceful world wherein we are not harming anybody mentally, emotionally, and physically. So, not listening to our children, not listening to ourselves, not listening to our partners also induces anxiety. Always telling success stories. When I was your age, I was doing this. When I was your age, we had nothing. You have so much, but you are not able to do. 30 years later, your children are going to talk the same way with your children. It's a generational thing. Your parents said the same thing to you. So know that and remember to give support to your family, to your children. Tell them that I'm going through a hard time, and when I do, I like my friends and family to do this. One thing that a person has done to make me feel better, it has helped me because talk to yourselves, talk to your children about how you can support others, how your child can support another. Somebody I know who has gone through a hard time is the situation was I could tell they were feeling dash because their behavior, their appearance, their attitude, and so on. It could be anything. The with human beings, the possibilities are literally endless. The kind of support they seem to like or need was dash. And this is different or similar to how I like to get support. So while I bring this session to a close and request you for any questions or thoughts that you want to share, I want to again and finally reiterate to children in this meeting that and I say this with folded hands, children, nothing is more important to us, to your parents, to me, than your health, both physical and emotional. No exam is important enough to harm you. Nothing should let you induce self harm on yourself. Do not harm yourself. Nothing is more important than your well being, to your parents, to your teachers. So, indulge in self love, indulge in discipline, indulge in bravery, help others. Do not make fun of children or classmates who are going through a tough time. It is very easy to laugh on others. Do not do that. Everybody is going through some kind of struggle or the other. So be safe, be kind, and be hardworking. Work hard. With that, I want to end my presentation and request for any thoughts that Gibbs team may want to share.
Thank you, Vidishri. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. Actually, we are getting hearts and likes on the YouTube live, and everybody is I think today the team, the parents, students, teachers are very happy with the session. As of now, we do not have any query. Everybody is just praising the session for
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yeah, good. So
Great.
thank you. With that, I think we will also close this session. Thank you everyone for joining us today. The link will be there, and we will be again sharing it on your email ID. Our team must have shared a feedback link in the chat box. You can share your feedback in the form, and definitely this link will be again shared with you so that you can refer this session and again, and you can share this session to the people who have who want to understand how to handle the anxiety and how to support the children and how student can take the stress-free exams. Thank you and have a great weekend. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Vidishri, once
Thank you.
again.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing your experiences with